You never took a typing class in high school or anything?
Yeah, and I literally did it like this.
Yeah, she did.
Because the teacher would like come around and I'd like be like this and like wait to push play, and then as she walked around, I'd click play and start going like this and like looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up.
That's a real console player right there. Welcome to the console roll queue. Bobby's describing why he sticks to the controller most of the time, but thanks for joining us. We've got Konviction coming from Big Money Esports, Inbowned from Hype Unit, Kerr from Ariel Rise, and Rapio from Rival. Guys, welcome in. And this is a little bit, we're changing it up a little bit here on roll queue. Normally we have all ADCs or all junglers, but I'm surrounded by console brothers right here. So welcome in. And I want to start off with the most important thing to me, and that is PlayStation 4 versus Xbox controllers. And this is a big, heated conversation between me and Finch all the time. The PS4 controller sucks. It's
garbage.
Terrible.
Garbage.
The two Xbox players immediately with me.
See, I don't think it's that bad. It's okay.
I don't think it's that bad either.
Xbox is better though, right?
I would, if I had to choose, I would use an Xbox controller, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as people make it out to
Well, I'm
be.
being outvoted, obviously. I like the PlayStation controller. I prefer it over the Xbox. I mean, I played PlayStation more than I've played Xbox, so I prefer it through usage at time.
It doesn't fit in your hand. It literally does not fit.
It's because of the thumbsticks, man. They can't be right next to each other.
There was one in the scrim room.
Yeah.
And I picked it up and it was just like, whoa, I can't even touch all the buttons. This is awful.
That might be the reason.
No, I think you're in the right thing here.
I've got wee tiny girly hands.
Hey, nothing you can do about it. I'm in small hand crew. We're all small hand crew here, is from what it sounded like. Well, Bobby's hands are pretty solid. But look, I don't know. But I'm glad to see we're all on the same page. It is curious to me. Hindu Man always tells me that in Europe, PlayStation 4 is way more popular than Xbox. Is that a thing, you think?
Yeah, I'd say it is. There's not many Xbox players in general, to be honest. Like, all my mates have PS4s, no Xbox. None of my IRL
especially when it comes to rank, the scene is. I mean, the scene was struggling for a while on Xbox, from what I heard, and it's always been big on PlayStation.
Interesting. Okay, and that's a great transition to where I kind of wanted to go next, which is the biggest differences between PlayStation 4 and Xbox. I don't know if you guys have played on each kind of platform, so to speak, but is there a big difference between PS4 and Xbox players? Is that kind of all overblown?
PS4 players really love their TP. they are crazy. They are animals. They are animals. And if you don't like one of them, say you get a bit annoyed, you ping one of them, they'll just run it down mid. They genuinely run it down mid.
There's nothing wrong with that tactic. It's a valid tactic.
Honestly,
if you build full movement speed and you run down the mid lane, nobody will annoy you again. Nobody will annoy you again.
It's true.
What about for you, Kerr? You think there's a big difference between Xbox and PS4 players?
At a competitive level, yes, the Xbox players are more experienced. I don't want to say better, but they understand. Nodding your head. What?
Better. That's what
Don't be ashamed.
I don't want to say better, but they've got more experience. Xbox has been around a lot longer, and they got a lot of, I want to call them PC rejects. That came over.
Well, he had to get up to the line saying better, so he's got to get up to that line too.
Console native, bro.
They got a lot of PC guys that came over, and they're still sort of there, and they taught the Xbox natives sort of how to play the game better.
Sure.
PlayStation, I mean, the league in Europe especially, all of them are just PlayStation players. None of them have played Xbox really. None of them have been on PC really. The odd like plat player in Season 1 and ranked, that's about it.
Interesting. Okay. Bobby, your perspective on the NA side of things?
No, the PlayStation players will do anything for their TP. I've never seen a PlayStation player run it down mid on console on NA. They all will just win no matter what cost. Xbox players will like shut off their Xbox if you're pinging them. PlayStation players will like take the ping and then like type at you really quick. They love typing. the PlayStation, they love typing. Literally all of them.
Interesting.
I've got a keyboard plugged in on my PlayStation just so I can type.
Just to type the messages. That's efficiency right there. Konviction, how about for you?
I feel like the top group of PS4 players are actually extremely talented, and they are very, they know the meta and they know how to play the game. It's just Xbox has had a console league the entire time, so there's a bigger pool of players that are good, right?
Sure.
It's not like one is better than the other. Essentially, it's just the amount of players.
Sure, that's
definitely
true. Like the top end is just way better on Xbox, but there's really good PlayStation players.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way that the PS4 scene has matured in a pretty short amount of time is much it was a much faster acceleration than it was for console at the time.
Yeah.
And Rapio can speak to that a little bit more than anybody else here. You were kind of part of that old hat on console way before. How has the SCL changed over the years?
Well, when I first came over, literally nobody knew what they were doing, genuinely. So my friends, appointed Gnome, he called me over and was like, just come play SCL with me, because honestly, it's free LAN. So I came over, and he was right. It was weird. It was kind of like, at the time, I was only really limited by mechanics, because obviously controller is way harder to play, I think. But the scene as a whole, I'm really impressed with actually how people from Xbox purely have grown, because I think Xbox and console natives in general are just getting better than PS4 pros at this point. Because I think like some of your teammates, they're console natives, aren't they?
I think all of us are.
Yeah,
Except maybe
I think that's
Rares
insane. I think
and
for a
Wolves,
hype
maybe.
unit to be console native at that level is insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed a whole lot. I mean, from my perspective, back when I was playing, it was kind of the same situation. Like, I was watching, you remember Lovely when he was around the SCL?
I don't remember Lovely.
Dude, that was before your time even. I mean, he was on an old roster with like Puka Bear.
I remember Puka.
Yeah, and those guys. And I was watching one of their like streams of a tournament, and I was like, yo, these guys are ass. Like, I can do that.
I literally won an SCL set playing Blink Raw Jungle.
Yeah, like, you could do whatever you wanted back then, and that's kind of why I got involved. But then, we got beat up by Envy and literally taught how to play Smite by them, and it kind of changed the whole dynamic. But even since you've joined, Bobby, I mean, there has been a big change in the way that the SCL is thought of publicly, but also I think in the way the game is played at that level. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Just from when I first started, everything was just, I don't know, like, it just felt weird just playing. Like, all the players were, I guess bad would still be a good way to put it. They were obviously better than when Rapio played, because, wow, they were so bad. If you ever go back and, like, watch it, they were so bad.
Dude, that first, like, MLG New Orleans LAN, oh, my Lord.
It looked bad. It looked like
was really bad.
a platinum ranked game.
That was before me.
As of now.
That was just
really
before me. Just before
I
me.
played in MLG New Orleans. It was rough. Let me tell you. It was not good.
Yeah. But now, and I don't know, even like a little bit before, like season 4, I think the scene matured a lot in season 4, and I think that was kind of when console exploded, I guess, and when it finally kind of got thought of, at least by like me, as a legitimate scene.
Sure.
And, yeah.
Once I left, let everyone else catch up. That kind of stuff. Right, understandable.
The ceiling
understandable.
left, and like
Exactly,
it finally got lowered
the
a little
power
bit.
vacuum
Yeah,
sort of happened.
exactly.
Yeah, understandable. Konviction, how about as someone who's playing it in a bit of a newer league, how different is it playing in the SCL and compared to what you thought it was going to be?
I feel like it's pretty much the same as to what I thought it would be. I am like a newer player. I've only played this like year. There's the first split, and then the last couple weeks of this most recent one. But I've scrimmed with teams, like I scrimmed with Astral before, back when Hype Unit was Astral, and I scrimmed with Flashpoint a lot. So I've actually have been playing like competitive like at this level for a while. I feel like so it wasn't really that big of like a difference, I would say.
In comparison to those scrims playing with, Astral and Flashpoint and teams like that, how different is that level compared to what you arrived to at PS4?
To what I arrived to at PS4. It's relatively the same. I feel like it's only when I first initially started to play is when I actually felt like it was a different matter. Like scrimming with an actual like SCL pro, like a pro team, it's entirely different than just picking on like a CC team.
Right.
That's when I felt like it was the biggest change. But going from a pro team to a different pro team it's relatively similar, I would feel.
Sure. Kerr, how about for you? What was the SCL kind of what you thought it would be coming in? I know you've been coaching the majority of this split, but now you're stepping into play.
Yeah, I think so. I think what it is, maybe the first time it was introduced on PlayStation, it was all over the place. Scrimming was, people were cancelling scrims, and then over a period of months and now years, it's grown, it's matured, it's become a pro scene. People are taking it serious, really, to be honest. I know the 4 teams that are in the European side of the SCL are all take it as serious as they can. They're competitive. They try to organise as many games as they can. The quality might not always be there on show, but they're trying to improve. And I think they're catching up to Xbox players, especially in Europe. as much as they can. I see in the corner of my eye just twitching.
Well, look, he went undefeated all year, so it's a little bit different. But for the rest of the league, for sure.
You went undefeated, but the teams you were playing against, do you think Jellyfish and Hive, the two teams at the bottom, do you think they are worse or better than the PlayStation teams?
I think Hive especially have been taking it very seriously this year. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Tyler Wren especially.
No, I would not. I think that was a travesty, to be honest with you.
That's the thing with Xbox right now is I feel like with the merge, I'm really, really hoping that the leagues get merged because
I agree with that.
Xbox player pool is so low that the bottom teams are just filled with people who can play once a week and be fine.
But that's where PlayStation helps.
So I'm hoping that you guys and the other team, Outcold, hopefully knock those two out, because then we'll actually have a league where everybody wants to win.
Yeah, that's kind of same with us too.
Because it does get tiring trying to, because especially with doing this for 3.5 years, trying to make console look respected, and people go, you know what, that actually looks pretty good. Like
that's the main thing.
And then it gets dragged back down again. And it's just.
I think our league is a little bit different than theirs because even our 4 seed takes it pretty seriously. Sure. They're obviously just a little bit weaker than us, and I don't even know what team
Blanche
name.
Fan Club,
yeah.
What a terrible name that is.
Horrible name. Delmy is literally the worst when it comes to naming teams. Literally the worst.
Their logo's a dog as well, isn't it? It's just
Blanche is a dog.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what it was. I thought Blanche was a person or something.
Dog Fan Club is their name.
It's all come together. That makes sense. Total sense.
Total great name.
Yeah.
Great name. Speaking to your point, Kerr, I do think that PS4 EU is the most improved region this year by a large margin. And I think that you guys, Ariel Rise in particular, are the most improved team overall. I did want to ask you about it. What clicked for you guys? Because I think that in phase 1, it was Outcold's region. They did pretty well over there.
Bedtime calling then.
Right.
Almost the same team. The core stayed together for the beginning of the split. We went 0-2 with a different roster, and Ollie came back into mid. I came into coach. We had Distortion playing ADC and Pulsar coming out to play support. So we had a wee bit of roster change right at the start of the split when we were 0-2, and then we went undefeated. I think it's just time spent together. The jungle mid combination is pretty good. Sarpai, in my opinion, I think he's the second best jungler in Europe outside of the man sitting next to me. We've got a phenomenal solo laner in Connor. The team's mechanically very, very good. And it's just about spending time and getting experience on how to play the game competitively, playing against guys that know what they're doing, more so than we do. And in terms of communication and making plays, invades, defending invades, just the general game at the top level. Sure. Just experience. I think it's just experience that made us better than we were, say, 6 months ago.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it does this weekend. A big thing that we always talk about on the casting team is that console players just seem to have so much more. I don't know what it is. It's like you get a controller in your hand and you're a different person than when you have a keyboard and mouse in hand. I don't know. The personality level, I think, on console is so much better. Is it just that, everyone grew up playing COD on console, and so you got to know how to talk a bunch of shit all the time?
Yeah. I already said I plugged my keyboard into the PlayStation sometimes. Yeah, well, it is. It's just, it's an environment, isn't it? Everyone's grown up playing COD. I know, especially in Europe on PlayStation, they're all COD players. Every single one of them have played COD, or they were ex-COD pros, or money matches and all that sort of thing. It wasn't really a scene I was part of, but it's a troll culture.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not looking at you in particular, but it's a troll. You
don't have to be.
It's a troll culture,
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. I think literally everyone on my team was COD player. Everyone on, just everyone in the league grew up playing COD or Halo or some shooter, some high action, high violence, I guess, shooter game. And I don't know, I feel like PC games are just more reserved. I played some PC games, I played Zoo Tycoon on PC.
Really?
I did.
Were you big into Zoo Tycoon?
I was. That was the only game I played. And then I'd go to play COD on controller. And then I just
pretty different energy between.
It really was.
Yeah, Konviction. What do you think kind of lends itself to that?
I feel like I agree with Bobby. It's people. What I find surprising is that a lot of the community actually comes from FPS games, and we ended up on a MOBA somehow. And I know that I initially don't like MOBAs because I played League before, Smite, and I didn't like it at all. I don't really like the top-down view, but I do like the third-person view because I played a lot of Gears.
Oh, yeah.
So I was used to that.
And that's, again, that is a scene in particular that, like, if someone kills you in Gears and they outplayed you, you're going to hear about it, you know? Like, Gears players are something else. Rapio, do you think it's the same thing, just coming from a different style of background?
Console, as long as I can remember since being a kid, is just kill or be killed, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you go into a console game, any game, and you're not prepared to take it and give it back, you're not going to last, you know? Like, even in SMITE lobbies, like, I go into PC right now and I type just like, hello, does anyone want anything? Just silence, nothing back. I'm like, good talk, boys. Like, I just lock my guard and that's it. But in console, like, people are like spamming, we have too many carries, like, nice job, surrender. It's just constant. It's a different world.
Have fun with it.
Vocal. Yeah, the console community definitely more vocal. What do you think the biggest challenge is of playing in smaller leagues? Because you guys are all part of 4-team leagues to play each other all the time. Do you think that's an advantage that you get consistent practice against the same style of opponents, or do you think that that's a little bit of a disadvantage? Konviction, we can start with you.
I would rather play against like a bigger pool of players. It's just better for scrims. I feel like scrimming the same team like constantly can get repetitive, and I feel like it's not only like gods or meta that matter, it's also the players. Like, you get to learn the players extremely well and what gods they play, and I feel like that's a disadvantage.
Sure. It's harder to like hide things, basically.
Yeah, especially if you're a streamer.
Sure. Absolutely. Bobby, how about for you?
No, yeah, 100%. I'd way rather play against like a bigger pool. You're at a really big disadvantage as a lower end team, I feel like, because your only teams you can play against will just learn you like inside and out. And I think that was like our biggest advantage against the other teams, was we just knew exactly what they would play. And then we would be able to play multiple different things that we could beat them with. So they were at a disadvantage, but I guess it was an advantage for us. But yeah, it definitely, I think, would be better with a bigger pool of players or pool of teams.
Sure. Fair enough. Kerr?
Yeah, I agree with what they said as well, but quality comes in it as well. There's no point in having a big league if the teams at the bottom and the teams that are maybe not competing as well don't take it seriously. Sure. You need everyone in the league if you're going to have it a bigger league. You need everyone to take it seriously. But I agree, there's nothing, I mean, we done the same as well. You're only playing 3 other teams. You know inside out what they want, what they can play, what they can't play. And you just learn that, and that's a big reason why I think our picks and bans were better than the other teams in the PlayStation's picks and bans. And it's a massive part of the game, just because we know what they can play and what they can't play.
Sure.
Which is, 3-team league, 3 teams you play against. You get to learn them inside out, and it's an advantage if it's going for you, but it's not a good thing.
Sure, fair enough. Rapio?
Yeah, I think the crossplay has pretty much saved my team, because with the 4-team league, like, obviously one team doesn't scrim at all. That's Hive. Hive never scrim. Jellyfish, they do scrim, but there's such a big skill gap. We start trolling and then we just get no practice. And then there's Dobbos, who we have really good scrims against, but it's all the time, like literally every single day. And it's very personal between us and that team. So you lose a set of scrims and everyone's moody. Like, no one wants to talk about it. So, and then with the leagues merging, it's just made it so much easier, because we can get slapped and not have to worry about like getting memed on Twitter after and stuff like that. And yeah, I prefer a bigger pool, way bigger pool.
Sure. Normally on the show, I have everyone describe each other's play styles because they're all playing the same role. I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult because you guys might not be as familiar with one another as individuals. But I think that we can talk more broadly. I hope that you've all done prep against one another as we're here for the console LAN. Konviction, we can start talking about Bobby here and the Hype Unit team. What are the things that stand out to you when you watch Hype Unit? Is it how hard they carry him on a consistent basis?
Literally the best player.
It's just how articulate they are, and they work really well together, and they just know when they need to be aggressive or when they should play passive, and etc. But I feel like they do play more aggressive.
Guess who's calling that? Me. What? No way. You wanting to play aggressive? Kerr, what stands out for you about Hype Unit?
Yeah, the aggression, I think. The gods that they play specifically in support, they just kind of run at you. They just seem to run at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just know. They just seem to know the game. They've been together quite a while as well. You can just tell they know each other. They know their limitations, how good each other is. They know when they need to carry Bobby.
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm there with you. Don't worry. I got your back on that one. Rapio, what stands out to you? You've played against them quite a bit.
Too many times. I don't know. The solo laner, probably the most. He's a walking win machine. He's just
Have
I'm
you
not
heard
the
my
solo,
theory?
I'm the support.
Yeah, I know. Have you heard my theory that Wolves somehow has broken the game to do more damage than everybody else?
And be tankier.
And be tankier. I swear, from the same items, he's tankier than other people.
He one-shots me and doesn't take any damage. Look at his build. He's got Warrior's Blessing. That's it. I'm like four-slotted. He's just literally just got nothing. I'm like, what? What is that? Yeah, he's insane. But hype unit, they've always had the best mechanical players. I think that's been the main thing. Because with console being less mechanically gifted, players like Layers, Boronic. Sorry, Bobby, but Wolves. well, to be fair, I think we've only played your roster with you on it twice, right? Because were you on it season 4?
No,
you were.
I was on Myth
The
season
first time
4.
we actually played your full roster, we beat you in the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we've only played 2
and
lines
then you
against you.
beat us in summer like 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
That was a rough day. But yeah, it's literally just the mechanical skill from players like Boronic, where even if he's split pushing on Giannis, 4 of you are getting hit as soon as that ult comes across.
No, I actually don't. I don't get his gen. It's like he just sends it across the map, and it's like 3 men. You're like, you should fight. It's all right.
Yeah.
We're going in.
He's like, yo, I just killed them.
Every player on hype, including Bobby, because he's from what I've noticed scrimming them is 99% of their comms and playmaking, little micromanager. I think every single player on that team can win a game by themselves, and that's the scary thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Bobby, you had the claim that you are the best player on hype unit. If it isn't you, who usually steps up for your squad?
Well, after me, there's just like a big drop off.
Naturally.
Yeah. I don't know. They're all like all right players, and I feel like you guys give them too much credit.
Who's the hardest to carry on the team?
Hardest to carry. When Layers is tilted, he is the hardest to carry. He will literally just complain to me the entire time. And I like to get him tilted too.
Okay. That seems conducive.
I guess hardest carry, other than me, would probably be Wolves. It's got to be Wolves. And then the hardest to carry, I guess it'd be Boronic. Boronic.
He's weighing you down.
That's interesting.
His late game is insane, but he just needs like some time to like get online.
Sometimes early
He
game.
does.
He
Like,
runs it down.
He'll be like playing AMC and he'll like path super aggressively and he'll die. And then I'll be like, what is he doing? And he'll whisper, he'll be like, yeah, I shouldn't have pathed that way. No way you should have pathed that way. Just path safe.
What has it been like adding Krim to the team? A former teammate of yours.
Yeah.
Pretty different dynamic now, but what was that kind of discussion like with Ant stepping away and deciding to add in Krim, and how's he been?
It was a really like massive change actually, because Griff was like our secondary shot caller behind me in like the late game. Like if I called something, he could either call it off or he could make a call to go in. And Krim really doesn't bring comms. He's mechanically probably one of the best players on Xbox, if literally not the best mechanical player. But he definitely doesn't bring as much comms. He's definitely improved a lot because we've needed him to. Because if you know any of my other teammates, all of them are quiet and they do not talk very much. Bronic's actually getting better too, but he's kind of shifted how he's played. Because he used to just be the hard carry of the 2 seed in NA, and now he's kind of came into a role where he can hard carry with us, or he can be supportive and like peel for Boronic, or he can dive with Layers, or he can rotate early to get our team ahead, and he'll fall a little bit behind. Like his playstyle is just like morphed into like a plethora of different playstyles that he can use, and it's kind of made us a more dynamic team, I feel like. When we were with Griff, we were a good team, but we kind of had just like a single play style, which was just play for late game. And our late game team fights were insane with Griff. But now we have like calculated aggression across the map with like Krim, and he just brings that for us.
Absolutely. All right, Bobby, when you watch Big Money play in Konviction, what do you see from that team?
Just like every other team is just sloppier. Like,
Wow,
like
glowing praise.
no. I'll give you a compliment in a minute. I just gotta get that out of the way. Like, it's just like they make plays that it's like, if you just played either like a little bit slower or a little bit faster, that would have been like the most perfect play you could have made. But they'll do it. They'll like make calls in untimely fashions, and it'll cause them to misplay. But mechanically, their team is nuts.
Yeah, they're really good.
Their solo laner is insane. I'm trying to remember your jungle. Tato, he's insane too. Like, you guys have playmakers across the map too. it's just like your team play lacks a little bit. And if you guys can like fix up your team play a little bit, like you have been doing, you guys have improved immensely with your team play, like by beating Nem. Nem was a really good team play team, and you guys just dominated them the entire time. Like you guys would get so good. So yeah, the compliment coming in now. Right. Yeah, you guys have improved a lot. Like just everything you're doing is just like getting better and better and better, and everything is just like coming kind of towards how we play. It's all just improving like in every facet.
Yeah, I think that before we move on to someone else, I do want to touch on that because obviously with the names that Nemesis had, everyone expecting them to make it through. And I agree, we would watch their games and be like, why is Nemesis making these mistakes? And at some point you have to be like, well, it has to be Big Money
they
making
just, like,
them.
kind of forced them into like mistakes.
You have to force them to make mistakes at some point.
And
I think that they did that really well.
And if you watch kind of like the beginning of the year, their match versus Nem would just kind of like just destroy him and just pound him and like bully him and like just completely obliterate them early, and then like slowly as you kept like watching like their week after where they played them again, they would just like get better with that, and then they would come back the next week. And I think it was after the second game they lost Kovi, and then after they lost Kovi, you guys just started just blowing them out, and it was just like you kind of expected them to win, even though Nem had the names.
Yeah, absolutely. Kerr, what do you see from Big Money whenever you watch them play?
They're mechanically really, really good players. I've known all of them just playing PlayStation because they're PlayStation players.
Sure.
On the NA side, you know the names. Badella, you know him. You know he's a really good player. You know Priv, he's been queuing EU over the last 3-4 weeks. I've been talking to him. He's been in the parties. He's a good player, especially a guy that's playing on pretty poor ping, to be honest, because he's playing in Europe. He carries games. He carries games in Europe, and we're just talking ranked, but you can tell the guy just can hit abilities. That's what you were saying. Mechanically, you're just a really, really good team. And you can tell the more you watch yous play, you're learning. I don't know if it's you're watching other guys at the hype or rival, you're just learning. You're learning just to become a better team. Every single time you play, you just look better. Your calls look better. And to beat Nemesis, I mean, Nemesis are the team, well, I don't know how much they're maybe on decline, but
they were. That means they were up on the mountain at some point, right?
Yeah. I didn't want to be mean to them. I was going to call them. I was going to say something worse, but to beat them.
What, that they were washed? That's what I mean. Come on now.
I did want to say that, but
Likewise is retired now, isn't he? I think.
well, yeah.
Is what he
I
said.
think he tweeted about it earlier on in the year.
To beat a team with that experience, that they know how to play the game, and to beat them, you have to also know how to play the game. It's like Bobby said, you got to know how to beat a team that knows how to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Rapio?
Yeah, well, obviously we play them tomorrow, so I'm not gonna say what I think strong and what's weak.
What do you think they're gonna pick and ban tomorrow?
Well, when we were talking about who we play, we were expecting Nemesis, so we wasn't keeping too much of an eye on Big Money because I wasn't really keeping an eye on the stand. It was just like Nemesis is probably going to be coming there. Sure. Then we watched the last set against Nemesis, and when Nemesis drafted Quad Warrior.
Yeah, Chalk
we
ADC.
were like,
Warrior percent. Have you ever felt a freer game, by the way, than Chalk ADC?
Once we got that double kill,
she got the double kill, backed full Jade Emperors over. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what Nemesis are doing. Maybe they think Big Money's free or something like that, but they ended up losing. So obviously we've been looking at them. Like Bobby said, the soul laner. He's a young kid though, isn't he? He's like 15 years old.
He's young.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like Coast, I guess.
Yeah.
Just mechanically insane at a young age, and yeah, I think they obviously, you can tell that they don't have as much experience as like people like Hyperion and stuff like that. But yeah, they all show like the glimmers of aware layers and aware wolves and like the old school players. So
Sure.
it will be an interesting match, I think.
Shout outs to RB and Aware Gaming. Love that guy. Konviction, what is it like? I mean, do you agree with a lot of the assessment that you guys still need to work on team play but are mechanically gifted? We can start there. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. I joined this roster a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not completely familiar with all the players. Well, I know Shadows because he's an Xbox native, and I agree with like your guys' assessments. It's I feel like if we were a roster for longer, then we'd definitely be way better than what we are currently. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just going over the games, I agree with what Bobby said about like we were pretty, what's the word, like we couldn't make a complete decision right away. It's hesitant. We were hesitant on whether or not we should do something or we shouldn't do it, and I feel like that's something that we have improved on like dramatically.
Sure.
Between them.
Did it bother you to hear everyone talk about, Nemesis is obviously the team to beat in this region? Like, how good did it feel to beat them and come to LAN?
I felt like they were completely unprepared. They weren't ready.
Yeah.
I just felt like how that was. Like, we practiced a lot of starts, and we knew exactly what they were going to pick and what they were going to do. I just don't feel like they practiced at all before they came.
You mean you knew that Chalk ADC was coming? Is that what you're?
That was a little bit different. We thought we was going to play Kronos.
Yeah, well, that probably would have been a little bit better. Yeah, it's CH. Like he almost had it.
Yeah, he made a misclick.
CH.
Yeah, I don't know. For Zach's sake, I hope
the
so.
sad thing is as well, they actually killed the hell if Erlong didn't get nerfed because they didn't have the Fatalis anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Got out with 3 HP, I think.
Bless up. Nerf Erlang every day of the
More
week,
nerfs,
dude.
please.
Yeah, you run it down on Erlang all the time. What do you mean?
I hate Erlang. I hate playing him. I hate seeing him like, yo, Bobby, you want to play Erlang? No, I don't. Like,
It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a smart
See?
man right there. He knows what it's all about. Rapio, we'll start with you since we're going to talk about Kerr next. What have you seen from Ariel rise as they've kind of grown throughout the year?
Yeah, so when crossplay came, they obviously asked us for scrims, and we're like, okay, we'll give it a shot. First, what I always notice when we scrim a new team is the first game, they all fly at you, like, because they've been running their region. And as we started beating them, they came a bit further back. But what I really liked from Ariel Rise from you guys was that after you lost like however many scrims in a row, you guys were still running at us like you could outplay us if you tried to. You could out team fight us. You weren't playing scared. You were just throwing everything you had at the table. And I think even Sarpe got a quadra kill on us at one point in scrims. Honestly, yeah, PS4 is going to catch up pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, I think that especially for playing against you guys in particular, when these like 4 or 5 names have dominated a region for so long, I think playing scared is something you guys probably come across fairly regularly.
Yeah, it's kind of like the worst part from our perspective against a new team where you see they have potential is that they play against players that are like, oh, I don't want to try and solo you because you're just going to turn it around. We're like, why would you be in my jungle if they've got 5 people behind you? But sometimes we are just stupid and we're in your jungle.
Right.
But yeah, I think Sarpe and Connor are Xbox natives, aren't they? Sarpe came from Xbox, I believe.
Sarpe did, yeah, but very, very rarely. Played maybe a couple of months.
Yeah. Yeah, they have confidence, and that's what they need. That's probably why they beat Outcold, because they weren't content with being second seed.
Sure. Yeah, definitely a little bit hungry. You could tell with those guys. Bobby, what have you seen from Ariel Rise?
kind of like what he said. They're just like stupidly aggressive sometimes, and then like perfectly aggressive sometimes, and then still aggressive when there's no need to be aggressive sometimes. Like that was kind of like the most surprising thing was just like, yeah, just how aggressive you guys are. You guys will literally run it down. And
won games.
100%. Gold Fury's up? No. Go wait for him at his speed buff. That'll get him. I don't know. Yeah.
A team after Bobby's own heart, for sure.
I do like taking the enemy speed, but
Mental note.
Robbie was like, maybe not.
yeah, I do think the wide perception of you guys where you guys were the weakest region, not your team specifically, but the region was the weakest, and kind of like them, you guys have just kind of like grown quickly, I guess. You guys have, I don't want to say matured because your region is still, not region, your platform is still really immature when it comes to Smite, but just slowly you guys have just like grown into like an actual team. Like, I don't know, it's kind of, yeah, definitely like just comparing you guys to Outcold from last LAN, just team play is just way better.
Yeah, we talked a lot on the casting team about how Outcold Phase 1, not to take credit away from them, but it just felt like they were the team making the least mistakes.
Exactly, yeah.
Now it feels like that region, and you guys in particular on Ariel Rise, have ascended past that and have been making actively good decisions and actively good drafts and playing like a real team. Konviction, what have you seen from your PS4 counterparts?
Absolute improvement. I think you guys can beat Hype tomorrow, honestly.
Yeah, okay.
Bobby's like, what? Wait, I need to go home and do some more drafting? Is that what you're saying? What makes you think that they've got a shot?
Just from watching them, you guys have just been improving a lot.
2 subs though.
Yeah,
that's
I was
where
actually,
gonna go.
I was actually upset that you guys had to bring subs.
It's happened every time. The free PS4 teams that have qualified for LANs over the last year or so,
Yeah.
I've always come with a sub
You had
or
one
someday.
The Outcold had one last year, or last
the
one.
jungler, but it was the jungler that was making the plays. Gunter Warrior was making all the plays for them through
Right.
the regular season, and they were It's the same with us. Pulsar, our support, made a lot of plays, a lot of aggressive plays. Our ADC was good, so the subs, it's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a real shame.
It really is.
Yeah. What
Kind of like the Sanguine thing.
Yeah.
How they have to bring your core. It's just the worst.
Yeah, that is
they
super
can't
unfortunate for them. Are you guys still feeling confident though, Kerr? Even with the sub situation, you still feel like you can make some noise?
I mean, you never know. You never know. It's 2 games of Smite we need to win. It could happen.
Yeah. Just let Bobby go near Fire Giant. Fire Giant obviously wins that matchup.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy from there.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, perfect.
In my notes.
Be confident.
You good, Bobby? Everything?
It's only if I'm like, if my team like backed up a little bit, like, and they weren't in melee range for like, if they knew how to tank fire like I did. If you watched it, I backed up, they all scooted in, the lava pools piled up, and I dashed into it.
Never the support's fault. Never the
It
support's
was
fault.
not my fault.
Now, when you say knew how to take Fire Giant like I did, didn't you also get knocked up during that sequence?
Once.
Right. And that's a surprise every time. Like, it never does it at the same time.
Honestly, it was the ping.
just
I think
random.
the ping was just too much. I just got
Okay, yeah, just making sure. All right, excellent. And then Rapio, we got to talk about Rival and your squad. Kerr, we can start with you. I mean, I'm sure, as he said, you guys have been scrimming a little bit. That's a team that I'm sure you guys have kind of tried to emulate throughout your growth process.
Emulates. When crossplay, when it first come, we thought we've got a chance, maybe even on them. They're a good team, but we could be up there. We're mechanically good. They are mechanically good. They're a good team. We're a good team. It never really went that way. They're better than us. They're the team you look up to. They've been for a long time. These players have been Europe. You've been Europe's flag bearers for years almost. The team that if you're playing European Smite on console, even on PC, you look at them and you know the players, you know the names, you know how good they are. There's been a slight changes, Davey coming in, a couple of changes over the years, but that's about it. They're still very, very good players, and just the way they play the game. I don't want to say perfect, but when you watch them, they play console Smite brilliantly. They're just good at everything. I mean, we played them quite a few times, and they just pressure you. They know when they're better. They know as a team when they're better than you. They just go at you. And you try to push back as much as you can. You can't do it. They're just better. They're a better team. They're a better individually. They're really, really, really solid. And every role they've got the best Xbox solo, the best Xbox mid, the best Xbox. Well, Europe we're talking, Bobby. We're just talking European. They've got the best players that play in Europe in every role, and probably some of the best players that play on console in any role. I know for a fact, like Connor, our solo laner, looks at Preds and tries to emulate what he does as much as he can. Look at the way he plays the game. Sarpai does the same as well. Our players try to learn from your players, and that's the best thing if cross-play comes one league for next season. You play against them more often, and you'll play against them in a competitive environment, and you just hopefully we'll learn as much as we can of them. Yeah. Hopefully they win Worlds as well.
Fingers crossed for the EU boys. Bobby, I mean, you've played against Rapio quite a bit during your career. What do you see from them?
Yeah, he put it brilliantly there. Before, I want to say this year, they were definitely the smartest team that console has ever seen. Almost everything they do is picture perfect how they plan it. I don't know if you're the main shot caller, if it's Dean or if it's Fly or whoever it is, but who's ever your main shot caller, he kind of just sets this plan up in his head, and whether it's wait for Fly's power spike and then take a fight, or wait for Rat full Acorn and then immediately fight, wait for Preds to back get his Glad so he's in a pressure jungle. You guys have these plans set, and you follow through perfectly, and you don't make mistakes on one side of the map while you're pressuring the other one. Coast never used to, and Davey does the same thing, but Coast and Davey will never be caught out if he's ganking for Preds or if they're pressuring blue. They'll play back. You'll try to because you know how they're playing one side of the map, you play the other side.
Sure.
They will hardly ever get caught by that. They are also a team that I look to for how to team fight. That's how or I don't know if the team really looked for it, but I looked towards it. That LAN you guys beat us at taught us so much about team fighting. Just the way you guys team fought was perfect. And when you guys have your early game down pat, you're a really hard team to play against. And that next LAN, your early game was really bad, and that's why we looked so good. Is because we just ran at you guys early game and just kind of punished.
Yeah,
But
well, we beat you the first day, didn't we, with
Yeah.
hyper pressure?
Yep.
But then you came in with an early strat.
even earlier pressure,
Yeah, which
and
was
then
earlier than like minion spawn
yeah,
strat.
yeah, and then
And,
we were just like out pressure at that point. And yeah, you guys. I feel like the one weakness you guys have is, what's the word?
Cover your ears a sec. Just don't listen to this. Don't
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
this.
yeah.
This is really important.
Walk away.
Yeah, never
Go
mind.
ahead.
I don't know. They have like one weakness, and it's
What is it?
you won't really know it unless you play against him a lot. And I don't want to say it now because he's that was a good point out. But yeah, they're one weakness, and if you can like learn it, you have a good chance of beating him. It's Rapio. Just take his speed.
Immediately hates his life. Conviction, you guys get a chance to play against them later on in the week. What have you seen in your preparation for Rival? What are they good at?
So, well, for me personally, I'm not very familiar with the EU scene, so I've had to like rely on my teammates a lot to inform me on like what they do and what they're good at, and like the players individually. And I feel like they're a really good team. I don't want to say too much about them since
Sure.
we play them, but I'm hoping for some good games.
You just expect to roll through them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy. Like, all that kind of stuff. Rapio, for a team that has dominated that region for so long, you guys had way more roster switch ups than normal this year. How difficult was that for you and for the team to kind of get through and get to where you are now?
So obviously last year I think we were the best we've ever looked. I think our team fights were, like you said, I think our team fight was incredible because when we want to do something, so for example, we want to set up around a Gold Fury, for example. Say Dean says, I want to do gold soon. So I'll say, okay, I'm this far away from this item, we wait on this. And we all pitch in on how we want to be. And then as soon as all them points line up, it's all on one and we get it done. Do you know what I mean? But as far as this phase goes, first phase, we had Tom, we had Fly. It was looking good, we were doing fine. And then we had a few bad days of scrims, and unfortunately, the day before we played Coast Team, Fly was like, oh, I'm joining Coast Team, by the way, so see you later. And we had to pick up Dobbo, and luckily we still beat them, which was obviously great. And then we got Tom back for this one, and I think we're looking really strong. But one thing about our team, which I think goes very, very unnoticed, is Davey. I think he's in Coast Shadow just because of how well Coast has done at LAN and obviously like that, but if you were to watch all our sets and stuff like that, Davey has been a really consistent performer the whole time. He's soloed Coast multiple times. He's a really big voice in our comms as well. He's taken over comms pretty hard in terms of late game and all that. And he wants to go big this weekend, and I really hope he does because he really deserves the credit, you know.
PS4 native.
And like Bobby said, our team, the only weakness we had last year, it's not the same this year, definitely not the same this year, is our laning phases can be a bit wonky sometimes, but we're all right now. We're good.
That actually transitions very nicely into what I wanted to talk about next, which was some underrated players, not necessarily in the SCL, though you can go that way if you want, but players that stand out to you in the console scene in general that you don't think get enough credit. Could be players in the SCL, could be some ranked players that carry your games a whole lot. Conviction, any come to mind right away?
Right away, Gooch, Wooch Gang Gooch, you know, if you've ever seen him around, he's actually an extremely talented player. And another one would be Q and Angry. He hasn't played in a long time, but I feel like he's definitely good enough to play if he wanted to.
Sweet. Sounds good. Bobby?
I don't know about ranked because I'm like the Xbox guy that like shuts off his Xbox when one thing goes wrong. Like,
Wait a minute. You're telling me.
I don't leave the game though.
Oh, okay. You keep playing in the
yeah,
game
yeah.
with your Xbox off. Right?
Nah, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I have to like think about it because I do think a lot of the SCL players are just good, but they're really really good players, and their problem is just like their team play. I guess Truancy would be a really sick player. He's played mid and support, and he's insane at both of them. I don't know. I'd have to like think about it a little bit more.
Sure. If any come to mind,
yeah.
you can pipe up. Kerr, how about for you?
There's a lot of people that play ranked in Europe on PlayStation and Xbox that you look at and you think they're mechanically good. I think especially on PlayStation, there's a lot of mechanically good people in ranked. You don't know how that's going to transition in a competitive environment.
Sure.
But there's people that you can look at and you can go, that guy can hit buttons. That guy knows how to use a controller. If he can transition that, who knows? I don't really want to name names.
Sure.
Because I know for a
You're gonna get some
fact
DMs.
I'm going to be, my phone's just going to start going all through the week. I can't be bothered with naming names.
Right.
But we'll go, well, Stephen Rush, who's a massive European troll, but he's a very, very good player. He played one of the games for Outcold this year, actually. One of the subs.
Okay.
Came in and subbed. He's a very good player. There's a lot. I'll name one. There you go.
Sure. Fair enough. Appreciate you naming one. Rapio, any stand out?
Yeah, I'm a bit like Bobby. It's kind of like you could be IREF or adapting, but if you invade me or cheese me or spam laugh me or ping me or do anything, you are bad.
100%.
And I don't care if you then go on to go 20-0. You are still bad, and I don't want to know you anymore.
It's like that level 2 gank in season 1. That was the worst for me. Like, as soon as you did that, that is the worst jungler in the game. He has to cheese gank me.
Right. You can't be good.
Like, ranked for me this phase with especially the invade meta has just been, do they have a Hercules? Am I going to hate my life? Is this worth playing? And then just get chased around for 20 minutes and just spam F6, ping my team, like, please, this isn't fun. But like Kerr said, Stephen Rush from PS4, I wouldn't say he's like a superstar in the mate, like just ready to go. He's definitely got a long way to come in terms of learning out, because competitive's a different beast. Like,
100% it is.
you can just get mauled at the drop of a dime, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in terms of from experience, I don't care how good someone is until I hear what their comms are like, because I've teamed with toxic people and people who just don't speak, and I would rather take someone who can't do anything like Bobby and have really and have like really good comms. That's why I think Bobby's on the team, because his comms, it doesn't matter if he circuit ults a minion or
Which would never happen. Literally 2 mistakes on you guys both bring them up.
Right. Only 2?
It's literally just comms win Smite games. That's what it is. Comms just win Smite games.
100%. What are some of the what would you say the biggest challenge is playing on PC versus controller? What stands out whenever you go back and forth Konviction?
Well, I stopped playing console for a couple of months and I switched to PC for a bit. And coming back, I didn't really notice anything when I actually started playing PC, but to come back to the console, using relics is super delayed. It takes so long for relics to go off. It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like every time I try, I'm like spamming my button. It's like, did I miss it? Like, what's going on? Bobby, anything stand out for you?
I'm kind of nuts on PC, and on Xbox, I do agree I'm a little lackluster in the mechanics ballpark, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I feel everything is just way easier to hit on PC. If being a mechanically good Xbox player is so much harder than being a mechanically good PC player. If someone like comes in ranked, like comes into your ranked game and says, "Wow, you're pretty good," like they're just talking about your mechanics. If someone says that to you on Xbox, like, you're a good player. Like, that is so much different. And that's basically all ranked is mechanics. It's hardly ever team play. So whoever just has the best mechanic player is usually going to win.
Sure. Kerr, anything for you?
I mean, I haven't played PC in a couple of years personally. I don't really go back to it, but that's because it's so hard to transition, to go from one to the other. I'm so used to playing with a controller in my hand now, I just can't play on a PC controller. I don't know, well, PC, mouse and keyboard, sorry.
Right.
Yeah. It's cleaner. I remember it being cleaner. Just anything you can do, any movement with a mouse, it just feels smoother and cleaner and not stiff. You can move faster. It's so much easier once you get used to it to do things. Just simple things like place a perfect Jameer wall. Just things that are on PC, basic stuff to do. They're so much harder to do on a control. Hitting edge outs and things like that. My mechanics are really poor. On PC, they were all right.
Yeah.
It's just so much more different. It's so much harder on console with a controller in your hand to just hit things, to actually just hit abilities.
It's undoubtedly harder. There's no question at all. Rapio?
Yeah, like PC players will rip you for having bad mechanics on, like watching SCL, and it's like, bro, you hold this thing, right? And you try that, and I swear you won't, like we gave our coach, who's a PC player, Flurry Q. We brought our Xbox, so he's been messing around and he literally couldn't walk in a straight line, essentially. And when I go back to PC ranked now, I either load in and someone goes, "Oh, console's pleb, just F6." I don't know if I flag that in NA, but they hate me now, even though I was from there. Like, I'm GM on both platforms right now.
Yeah.
I literally will play ranked on console, well, until it stopped popping, which was like at midnight before the consoles merged, and then I'd play PC till whenever.
I think that's a big thing. Sorry, Button.
It's all right.
But we've got like Sarpai. We've got guys on our team. There's guys that play on PlayStation that are masters in PC. They're good PC players.
Yeah.
But as soon as people find out that they play PlayStation, like you said, they'll slag the league mechanic. They'll slag the league like it's almost a joke. Like it's so much. I don't know how to explain it. The players are so much worse, but they're literally up there playing on PC, doing well in rank, high ranked. It's
like the general Smite community, for some reason, the PC community, not like a lot of the pros, because obviously they know me, they know Bobby, they know the players, they do respect us, but it's like you see in like the mixer chats, they're like PC gold is console grandmasters or something
PC
like
master
that.
race type.
And it's like I'm literally GM on both.
Yeah.
And then they get against you or something, they're like, oh, console maybe has a chance, and it's just like, we're not that bad. And but yeah, PC to Xbox is literally just mechanic difference, I think.
Sure.
That's really
The gap is undoubtedly closer than it's ever been, I think, between the top end of console and the SML and the SPL at the PC level. And that's what you guys are here to do, hopefully, right, is to close that gap even further and take some games off some PC guys. Do you think that MSI was our first chance to see that level of crossover? You guys obviously had a very good run there. Are you guys hoping for more this time around? Do you think that you can take down some of these PC teams?
Yeah, like keep in mind when we played MSI last month or last time, whatever you want to call it, we had no PC practice. We had just gone in, we had only been playing against Blanche Fan Club, or I think they were Heat back then. We've been playing against them, and then I think we played you guys a couple times going into the LAN too. We played across the ocean, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we had like no practice heading in, and now the PC teams were willing to scrim us some SPL. A lot of SML teams like wanted to scrim us, and like they were telling us we were a good practice for them. And yeah, I think we're ready to close the gap a little bit more with this LAN. Hopefully, whoever joins us can.
Hey man, you gotta get through these guys first. It's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
The my boy Kerr over here. Ariel,
I'm not even looking at him. I'm not even looking in his direction. Just ignoring him. Ignoring him.
Being the bigger man, I respect that. Well, guys, good luck this week. Thank you very much for joining us and sitting down, talking a little bit of console. Back with my brethren, at least the Xbox guys. PS4 controllers are good for sports games. I'll give you that because you don't have to worry about the thumbstick as much.
No.
They're good.
They're
there.
good for FIFA.
Not good, period.
They're worse.
I would never like choose have an option to choose PlayStation.
They're that much worse. They're
Yes,
really that much
100%.
worse.
100%.
Alien
Playing like
technology.
this is the worst.
It doesn't work. You need them offset. You need the balance.
I mean,
The balance.
That's what they say.
It feels like you're playing on an N64 controller.
Yeah,
You're
that's
like,
what it does feel
It
like.
sounds like it's not that bad. Sorry,
if it's better, beat those guys on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that will come down to a lot more than just the controllers. I think that will be just the controllers.
It's only the controllers. That's the only thing. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time here on Roll Queue.